Hi there, it's Louise with you of Timeless Craft Mama, and today I'd like to share a scrapbook layout process video created for the July challenge at Off the Rails Scrapbooking. My layout I have entitled OU, and it's inspired by this kind of African animal zoo themed mood board. Now this was a complete challenge for me because my kids are a bit young for the zoo and we don't have one near us, so we've never been, and I decided I was simply going to go with the yellow theme, and I'm going to have a little bit of a crack at making my own background. So I've taken a piece of 12 by 12 white cardstock and I've dug through my stash for any of my stamps that are star related. So you can see that I have marked out on my page where my photo is going to go, so I don't need to worry about stamping there. You could if you wanted to, but for me I just felt it was unnecessary. So using a couple of different variations of star stamps, I'm just going to work my way around the page, adding more. I've got a big one, I've got those 4 in a row, a couple of little ones, and I'm just going to keep adding stars until I've filled up this entire page. Now I'm using permanent ink because I'm going to use the Color Blast Shimmer Dust in Sunflower. And what you'll see in the video, or more likely you won't see, so I'm actually just using this brush and splattering tiny little amounts of it all over the page. And it's really hard to see this, but what you get is from above, if you spray the top so that you don't get the the color dust everywhere, you want to actually allow that to react with the water and then dry, and it creates that awesome yellow background. So I have, again off camera, added a couple of extra layers of that shimmer dust, and that has just expanded the color around that page. So what I tried to do for this layout was to pretend that I had purchased a background paper and then was going to add a medium to it. So I didn't actually spend too much time adding gessos or mediums or anything like that, because I knew that the white cardstock with the permanent ink stamping, and that would stay on the page, so I didn't have to fiddle around too much. Now the next steps in creating this page is I've chosen this photo and I've used black and white because it's kind of the theme of the mood board. It has those black and white stripes, so I really wanted to go with this sort of black and white with that pop of yellow kind of going on. Now I've reached into my stash of chipboards and I've chosen this really cool circle chipboard that's got the triangles on it, and I'm going to use the steel embossing powder from Color Blast again, and I'm going to just set that with the heat gun. You won't see most of this on camera because it's really, everybody knows how to set embossing powder with a heat gun. So once that's done, I'm going to, and I only gave it a single coat of embossing powder too. Some people like to do 2 coats, but I wanted it kind of rustic and raw around that photo, so I sort of left it with just the 1 coat. Now I've also chosen these thickers that I'm going to use in my title, and I'm looking at the page and I'm thinking that it's sort of getting a little bit lost. I decide that I want to have a look at it with the paper turned the other way up and the photo at the top, and I'm liking this a whole lot better. So I'm going to add a couple of extra chipboards, and I'm also going to build a little bit more paper dust in the background, because I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it's really busy, my photo's getting a little bit lost, I've got lots of yellow going on there. It's just a bit overwhelming for me at the moment. So I've pulled out a 8 by 8 paper pad, and I've got some paper scraps and some whole pieces of paper that I'm going to use as well. And basically what I'm going to do is just trim them down and build into that background so that that photo really lifts off the page slightly more. So I'm happy with where the background layers are, and what I want to do is just round off the corners just to take some of the sharpness out of the layout, and I'm actually going to ink around just with black again the edges of those background papers. So not the main cluster where the photo is, but just the background areas, and off camera I've gone ahead and adhered that to the page. Now with the arrow triangle chipboards that I've got here, I've actually given them a coat of white gesso and let them dry, and then I'm going to emboss them. Now that's because I want a much smoother embossed finish on those chipboard pieces. So if you like a more raw, rustic kind of chipboard, no gesso, but if you want that smooth, sort of really polished and finished look, then a coat of gesso will give you that. And the final steps in this layout is to add a couple of little embellishments from my stash, and this layout is complete. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing your creations for this month.